In this tutorial, we'll look at Quickset, a way to quickly set up a number of default access options on your MikroTik device. In this video, we'll look at the Quickset utility, a way to access a number of common setup functions on the router. Selecting Quickset brings up the Quick menu access functions. At the top left, you'll see a drop-down box where you can select the planned role of this device. The modes are CPE, which is client premises equipment. This is designed for outdoor wireless devices that are connecting to high sites or something along that line. The next options are point-to-point AP, which is if you're trying to build a point-to-point bridge using the access point side. PTP bridge CPE, which is the client side of the point-to-point connection. WISP AP, which is designed to be used with sector antennas. Home AP Dual, which is designed as a dual band access point for small office and home office applications. Home Mesh, which is designed for setting up multiple routers in a home environment, and CAP, which is designed for setting up in capspan mode. The mode we are going to be looking at is Home Access Point Dual. If I select that menu item, you'll immediately see that the options change to reflect what we need to set up. The first thing I can set up is the network name or SSID of the 2 GHz and 5 GHz wireless devices. I can now type out a demo name, and I can use the same name for both access points, or I can give it a different name depending on how I want to run it. I can then choose the frequency and the band that it's going to run at, but first of all, I should probably choose the country, which will help me with setting up the correct frequencies and output power. Now that I've selected South Africa, I'm able to adjust my band. On 2 GHz, you usually want to select the 2 GHz BGN, or if you're not going to support the legacy B mode, you can just choose 2 GHz BN. On 5 GHz, depending on if your device supports AC or not, you can choose 5 GHz A/N or AN/AC. It's also a great idea at this point to select a Wi-Fi password and type in a password for the Wi-Fi network. I can also, if I want to enable a guest network, give it a guest network name and Wi-Fi password, as well as limit the download speed, but I'm not going to do that at this point. Once I've set up my Wi-Fi settings, I can now set up the WAN portion or the internet portion of my connection. There are 3 ways in which we can obtain an address. First of all, I can click on static, in which case I'll be typing out all of the settings manually. I can choose automatic, and that will allow me to connect to a DHCP server and obtain my IP settings in that way. The third option is to use PPPoE, which will require a PPPoE username and password, in which case I can use that to connect up. In this case, I'm going to select the DHCP option, and I can move on to setting up the local network. For the LAN side, I need to specify an IP address that I would like to use for the local network. I also need to specify the net mask, which will be a default class C/24 network. If I want to, I can bridge all the LAN ports together. This will join together Ethernet ports number 2 to 5 in the case of my PAP AC², and it'll also join the wireless network cards into the bridge. If we would like to serve out DHCP to the network, I may select DHCP server, specify DHCP server range if needed, otherwise I can let the router decide on the best IP addresses to use for me. A NAT rule can be specified at this point, which will create a masquerade rule out of the WAN-based interface. All that's left then is to apply the settings, and we'll be able to see the effect that it has had on our device. I can now look in IP addresses. You'll see it has added an IP address onto the bridge for the LAN side network, and it has added a WAN side address from DHCP. We can also see if we navigate to wireless that it has set up the 2 wireless access points with the correct SSIDs as we had specified. Under wireless security profiles, we'll see that a security profile has been set up for us with WPA authentication and AES CCM. Please note, however, that when it has set up the profile, it's enabled both WPA version 1 and WPA version 2, we should deselect WPA version 1, otherwise it'll have compatibility problems with new iPhones and Android devices. We can also navigate to IP DHCP server, and you'll see it has set up a DHCP server on the bridge along with the correct network. And if we navigate to leases, we'll see once clients start getting assigned IPs on that network. We can also see under IP DHCP client that it has added a DHCP client on the WAN interface, that being Ether1. And finally, inside IP firewall, under NAT, we can see that a masquerade rule has been created out of the WAN interface. In conclusion, NetInstall provides a single menu option where we can set up a number of common router functions.